Dodgers legend Freddie Freeman has off-season surgery. We get into how that affects the Dodgers in 2025, when we can expect to see him back. Also, Andrew Friedman gave a pretty interesting statement today to the press, speaking about the Dodger free agents that are currently, of course, on the market that they have not signed, and what exactly is going on, who's coming, who's going. We get into all that here in this edition of Dodgers Digest. Hey, this is Mike Nelson. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the 21% of the ones that are watching these videos who've already hit the sub button, but 78% of you have not jumped on the bandwagon yet. Jump on before it's too late. We are the best Dodger channel out there. You're not getting content like this anywhere else. Myself and Brad J don't do it like anybody else. Make sure to subscribe. Let's get right into it. Of course, Freddie Freeman underwent surgery on his right ankle. Everybody knows about Freddie Freeman's ankle issues. And Freeman is expected to be able to participate in baseball activities during spring training. Of course, Freddie Freeman, Dodgers legend, right? I mean, this guy, World Series MVP. I was speaking to a friend of mine, last week during Thanksgiving, and we were talking about how Freddie Freeman is probably never going to be able, he's never going to have to pay for a drink again when he's out to eat in LA, right? This guy wants a drink, it's going to be free drinks for Freddie because, this guy is a Dodgers legend. He is a modern-day Kirk Gibson for us. I wasn't around when Kirk Gibson hit that home run in 88. I've seen the highlights. I even have the whole DVD box set at home with the entire 88 NLCS and 88 World Series. Listening, of course, to Vince Scully. Rest in peace. But, I wasn't around then. But, for me, this moment in Game 1 of the 2024 World Series is my Kirk Gibson moment, right? I think for a lot of people out there, it is the same, right? Because, think about it. Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam to win the game. It's absolutely crazy, right? It's crazy looking back on it, what it meant. And, when he hit that home run in Game 1, you just knew the Dodgers were going to win the World Series. I'm sure a lot of you in 88 felt the same way. When Gibson hit that home run off of Dennis Eckersley, you guys knew the Dodgers were going to win the World Series. And what is it, almost 40 years later, the same thing happened. 36 years, basically, the Dodgers won the World Series. And, we've been still celebrating that. It's been a little over a month, but it still feels so fresh. The Dodgers winning the World Series and Freddie Freeman being the integral part. And of course, it was a difficult year for the guy personally, but he ended up completely, putting the team on his back, basically, in the World Series because he almost had a home run in every game of the World Series, and you think Ohtani really struggled in the World Series, as we know, got hurt. There was a lot of, issues, of course, for Ohtani after that injury, and there had to be somebody to step up, and that was Freddie Freeman. But, of course, today has a surgery on Thursday to address the bally sprained ankle that hampered him throughout the postseason, the club said. Kenneth Jung performed the procedure, Dr. Kenneth Jung. And, yeah, so you just hope Freddie Freeman can, of course, get healthy for next year. It's still, what is it? We're barely in December. So you hope that, spring training, I don't expect him to really be playing in spring training. It doesn't say he's going to be playing. They're saying he's going to be doing baseball activities. So I assume that means kind of conditioning himself for the 2025 year. I don't expect to see Freddie Freeman playing right away in spring training. We might see him at the end. And, I wouldn't rule out, I don't know what you guys think, but I wouldn't rule out the idea that he might not start the 2025 season, right? The Dodgers are going to have to play this slow. They can't rush him back. They can't afford to have Freddie Freeman, re-aggravate that ankle and be not at 100% as the year goes along. You want him healthy for the playoffs, right? You don't want to have him go through that again. In the playoffs next year, as the Dodgers are going to be trying to repeat next season. So definitely all the best to Freddie Freeman. The guy is a Dodger legend. What do you guys think? You think Freddie Freeman is a Dodger legend already? Of course, he hasn't been with the Dodgers. He played with the Atlanta Braves most of his career and only been with the Dodgers the last few years. But I think this year alone has put him in that stratosphere as Dodger legend, one of the best Dodger performances ever in World Series history and hitting one of the biggest home runs in franchise history in Game 1 of the World Series. Has to be one of the biggest, up there with Kirk Gibson. Of course, Kirk Gibson was a pinch hit, 2-run shot in a game that Kirk Gibson wasn't even supposed to be playing. But the similarities are definitely there. I don't know. There's been a lot of discussion with that, going back and forth. Which home run or which moment's bigger? I'd like to see your comments below. What do you guys think kind of stands in Dodger history? And yeah, maybe even our buddy Brad J can kind of talk about that. He was around back in '88. He could give you a little more insight on how that meant for the Dodger fans back then, and how that compares to this home run in 2024. I wanted to also get into what Andrew Friedman said today to the press, to DodgerBlue.com. This was a part of that article. He spoke to the media today, talking about how there's a lot of free agents on the Dodgers, and what's going on. We've had a lot of different conversations with our own guys from our own standpoint throughout it. The only thing we control is to be honest and have conversations with those guys, right? That's what President of Baseball Operations Andrew Friedman said when the status of the current Dodger free agents. We have a lot of respect to them. They put themselves in this position. They deserve the right to figure out what's best for them and their family. The only thing we control is being honest. So basically, he said that like twice in his statement. Kind of interesting, if you ask me, because he's kind of saying, we got to be honest. We can't keep everybody, right? He didn't want to come out and say that, but that's basically what he's saying when he's saying we're being honest. They can't keep all these guys, right? They can't. You got, of course, the Kershaw, Buehler, Flaherty. Those are the three starting pitchers that are currently free agents. Kershaw, it's all, his return is a certainty. I like I've talked about before, I disagree with that. I disagree bringing back Clayton Kershaw. I know that's controversial, but I think the Dodgers should not waste a roster spot on somebody that, quite frankly, is probably, he's probably done, right? He's just going to be there as more as a coach. I mean, if Kershaw can't play baseball anymore, he should retire and just become a coach for the Dodgers, right? Not take a roster spot. But that's the situation the Dodgers in. Of course, Buehler and Flaherty, the big question mark, what's going to happen with those guys. But you also have, the Teoscar Hernandez situation, like we've covered quite a bit here on this channel. Kike Hernandez and Blake Treinen, a couple guys that, and Joe Kelly. Three guys that I don't think they get much coverage, I don't know why, but Kike Hernandez has to be on the Dodgers. I mean, come on, we got to sign this guy. I mean, this guy is so clutch in October. I mean, come on, we need this guy. Got to sign this Hernandez, right? We got to sign both Hernandez, right? We got to sign the Hernandez brothers. We got to sign both of those guys, right? And Blake Treinen, also, guy was great for the Dodgers. And then Joe Kelly, it's Joe Kelly, right? We got to keep Joe Kelly. He's already left the Dodgers before. We got to keep him here. We got to keep everybody, right? Kind of like when we let JT go. That was rough, right? Always letting one of our fan favorites go. I wish Justin Turner would come back, but it's tough, right? It's tough to bring him back with the way the Dodgers are stacked up now. But going back to Andrew Friedman, interesting statements. I guess they're being honest. They're not keeping everybody. I think there's some guys that got to go and some guys that you got to keep. As always, make sure to subscribe. And let's go Dodgers. Woo!